Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL wildcard weekend picks and predictions where I go through every single wildcard game, give my prediction, and give the score potential. Now, guys, we're beginning on Saturday. The way the wildcard round works, there's 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and then one Monday night game. This is an NBC 4:30 Saturday late afternoon one. The Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco going on the road as the 5 seed. They do have a better record than the Houston Texans, but because Houston won their division, they stand as the home team and as the 4 seed. Very interesting matchup. CJ Stroud, nobody thought Houston would be here. Very likely going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Joe Flacco, nobody thought the Cleveland Browns would be here. They've got an amazing defense, and when it comes to a game like this, very even. You can see the FPI, 50.5% chance for the Browns, basically a pick 'em. They're sitting 2.5-point favorites. I do have the Browns going on the road with a veteran quarterback, with an impressive defense, winning this game in a lower scoring affair and covering. For as good as CJ Stroud was towards the end of the year, he did slow down slightly. I know he had a nice game in Indianapolis, but this Browns defense, the pass rush, the secondary, it's going to be too much for a rookie quarterback, in my opinion, even though the Browns are going on the road. I have the Browns. And then they've got Joe Flacco, the veteran leadership. He's had such a great regular season. We know how good he can be in the playoffs. The crazy run back in 2013. I will take the Browns there. Moving on to the Saturday night 8 o'clock game. It is the Kansas City Chiefs hosting Miami, and weather is going to be a concern for the Dolphins in this one. You do have the Chiefs sitting -3.5. You could be looking at wind chills possibly around 0 degrees. You know, a Miami team coming in, warm weather team, it is not ideal, and this is why that loss in Week 18 to Buffalo, where you go from possibly the 2 seed to a 6 seed. It's such a brutal bad loss. They're sitting right now as the 6 seed, Kansas City as the 3 seed. I am not buying the Chiefs this year at all. Not only is it extremely hard to repeat, they just haven't been that good this year. It's just the reality. They're sitting -3.5. They have a 53% chance to win, so you could say analytically, based off of these 2 games, there would be value on Houston and Miami, you know, in terms of the analytics. I have this game at 23-20. It might be even lower scoring. I do think the over-under is something I'm going to be looking at along with the weather, because if it is very cold, that could potentially affect things, especially if we get some wind, big wind gusts, that could be a problem. I do slightly like the value of the Dolphins plus the 3.5. I mean, just in general, I look at these 2 teams, I think Miami had the better year, but they're sitting as the 6th seed because down the stretch, they lost some games. They're dealing with injuries. So you can understand why the Chiefs would be the home favorites in this one. And I do think the Chiefs, with the Arrowhead advantage, will win this game, but it should be very close. 3.5 is a tough number. I'd probably stay away from it, but if I had to pick, I would go in on Miami plus the 3.5 with value. Possibly the under. I'm sure with Mahomes and Tagovailoa, the over-unders probably into the mid-40s, maybe 47, 48, and I would, like the under in that game. Moving on to the Sunday games, this is the 1 o'clock game. This is the normal game. We're always used to NFL games at 1 o'clock, so we do have the Buffalo Bills sitting right around -10. They opened -9. I already saw it got bet up. They're sitting -10 right now. 77% chance to win. This is a 7v2 matchup, so this should be one of the more lopsided matchups of wildcard weekend, and I think that's exactly how it plays out in this game. 24-10, you could very easily say 27-10. I do like the Bills to win this one relatively easily, even though they are kind of streaky. Josh Allen, a lot of turnover potential. I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you could say, look, the Steelers +10. We know how feisty they are with Tomlin. They play decent defense. They're going to be in this game late. They're going to cause turnovers. I get it. But you have to understand, the only reason, or one of the only reasons the Steelers are in the playoffs is because the Ravens rested all of their starters. Otherwise, they very likely would have lost that game if the Ravens were playing for a spot in the playoffs and, played all of their first string. I think Buffalo wins this game easily and covers the 10-point spread. 10 points is no joke when you're talking about the playoffs, but they're going to be at home. I think it's around 30 degrees and light snow flurries. Both of these teams cold weather teams, so no real problem with that. Mason Rudolph kind of having his crazy run. We've seen other quarterbacks, journeyman quarterbacks who are bad, play well for 3 or 4 games, and they normally fall flat at a certain point. This could be a game where Mason Rudolph completely falls flat. I'm expecting it, actually, and I do think the Bills win this one and cover the 10-point spread there. Moving on to the Sunday afternoon game, 4:30. It is the Dallas Cowboys, another 7v2 game, taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, Jordan Love, an amazing second half of the year. He was a top 5 quarterback if you look at the PFF grades in the second half of the season. And then you've got the Dallas Cowboys, obviously the impressive win on the road at the Commanders, winning that division and being the 2 seed and sitting right now minus the 7.5. Do I think Dallas can cover a bigger spread like 7.5? I think they can, and I have them winning this game, and I really do like the over in this one. 31-21, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, higher scoring game. The Cowboys are just, quite frankly, better. I understand people say, well, Green Bay has their number. That was Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. This is a completely different team. And Dallas has a really good offense. They've got a solid defense. They're going to be at home. They play really well on offense at home. I will take them winning and covering a 7.5-point spread. That game happening on Sunday afternoon. Moving on to the Sunday night game, it is a 6v3 matchup. Maybe one of more of the fun matchups of the weekend. This is the game where I am expecting the highest score. It is the Rams going on the road in Detroit. 2 dome teams, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford. Both of these teams with high-octane offenses. Detroit sitting minus 3.5, 54% chance to win. Believe it or not, I actually do like Detroit to win and cover, but it is very slightly. And the reason I listen, Detroit's just a solid team. I understand they're going to be a team that a lot of people like picking against because they're not used to this. They're not used to hosting a playoff game. They're not used to being the favorites. Sean McVay on the other side has had so much more success. Matt Stafford, they've won a Super Bowl together. I get it. When you look at the playoff experience, it's not close. Although Jared Goff does have significant playoff experience with the Rams, but still just in general, this Detroit Lions franchise hosting a playoff game at Ford Field, it's completely foreign to them. But I'm still going to roll with them because I think they are better, and they had a good close to the season. Yes, they do have a suspect defense, but they get the job done. They cover a 3.5-point spread, and it's a bit of a higher scoring game in that one. And then moving on to the final game of Wild Card Weekend, it is the Eagles traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs. Oh my goodness, you want to talk about 2 teams. I mean, I've never liked the Bucs this year. They're in the playoffs as a 4 seed because of a bad division. The Eagles really limping into the playoffs, losing 5 of their last 6 games, and there was a crazy stat where any team going into the playoffs that loses 5 out of 6 games, they don't win a playoff game. And I'm sure it's barely happened, but it is interesting. Philadelphia sitting minus 3 in this one. I do like Philadelphia to win this game. I'm just not buying Tampa at all. And I think this game is going to be won by the Eagles defense. A.J. Brown right now, he was questionable to return last week, possibly with an injury. Jalen Hurts not playing well. But Philadelphia, it's not like they're losing their quarterback or anything like that. They're just playing bad. I think they can play better and win this game because it is the playoffs, although I will say it is a massive red flag when you look at it. I'll tell you, a lot of these games are very similar. We're seeing 2.5 to 3-point spreads in like 4 of these games, with the analytical numbers being extremely close. A lot of even matchups outside of the 2v7 games. Both 2 seeds should crush the 7 seeds, but every other game seemingly is going to be very close and should be good. I would take the under in this game. I do think Philadelphia does cover a shorter spread, sitting minus 3, because Tampa Bay, again, they're in the playoffs because of their bad division. That's really the only reason. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.